Hello, dear friend. Welcome to tonight's quiet journey with the Lantern Keepers. I'm so glad you've chosen to rest here with me. Take a moment right now to settle more deeply into your bed or your favorite resting place. Let your body sink gently into the surface beneath you. Allow your shoulders to soften and drop away from your ears. Let your jaw relax and feel your forehead smooth out. Let your breathing become slower and easier. There is nothing you need to fix tonight, nothing you need to figure out. Just breathe with me for a few moments and let the worries of the day begin to drift away like leaves on a quiet stream. Tonight we travel to a peaceful corner of the ancient woods, where the trees stand tall and protective, and the moss grows thick and velvety underfoot. In this hidden place lives a lantern keeper named Liora. She makes her home in a rustic log cabin, nestled between ancient oaks and whispering pines. The cabin's thick wooden walls have grown warm and golden with age. Its thatched roof is heavy with soft green moss and tiny glowing mushrooms that appear only after a gentle rain. A sturdy stone chimney rises from the center, and on evenings like this, a thin ribbon of sweet wood smoke curls lazily into the twilight sky, carrying the comforting scent of cedar, rosemary, and dried lavender. Liora is known among the Lantern Keepers for her quiet strength and her tender care for every living thing around her. She wears a simple linen dress, the soft color of morning mist. Her lantern is crafted from copper and frosted glass. When she lights it, the flame inside burns with a steady golden light that never wavers, even when the wind moves through the trees. One soft twilight, as the first pale stars began to appear above the treetops, Liora stepped out onto the wide stone threshold of her cabin. A light rain was falling, the kind that feels more like a gentle mist than proper rain. It made everything smell rich and alive: damp earth, fresh pine needles, and the sweet lavender that grew thick along the garden path. She lifted her lantern high, and its warm golden glow spilled across the wet flagstones and the glistening leaves of the herbs by the door. That was when she heard it, a low, curious croak coming from the branches just overhead. A large raven, its feathers shining like polished midnight, tilted its head and looked directly at her with bright, intelligent eyes that seemed to hold the quiet wisdom of the entire forest. "Hello, old friend," Liora said, in her calm, soothing voice. The raven fluttered down and landed gracefully on the wooden railing beside her. In its strong beak, it carried a single small object that caught the lantern's light, a tiny glowing seed, pulsing with the same soft golden warmth as her lantern flame. Liora's face softened into a gentle smile. "You've brought me something special again tonight," she whispered. She held out her open palm, and the raven carefully placed the glowing seed into her hand. It felt pleasantly warm against her skin and throbbed with a quiet, steady magic. The raven gave another soft croak, then lifted into the air and circled once above the cabin, before flying steadily toward the meadow that lay just beyond the edge of the trees. Liora understood the invitation at once. She drew her warm wool shawl a little tighter around her shoulders, lifted her lantern higher, and began to follow her feathered companion into the gentle night. Breathe in, and exhale slowly. The narrow path from Leora's rustic log cabin wound downhill through lush ferns and thick carpets of soft moss. With every slow step, the rain grew finer until it was only the lightest kiss against her cheeks and hair. The air was filled with the comforting scents of wet earth, wild lavender, sweet bluebells, and the faint resin of pine. Her lantern cast a steady circle of golden light that danced across the ground, turning every tiny raindrop into a sparkling star. Before long, the trees began to thin, and the meadow opened up before her, a wide rolling sea of blue and violet flowers, swaying softly in the evening breeze. There were cosmos and lupine, delicate forget-me-nots, tall purple foxgloves, and clusters of pale blue poppies that seemed to glow under the lantern light. The raven flew ahead, landing now and then on the tallest stalks of lavender, patiently waiting for Liora to catch up. As she walked deeper into the heart of the meadow, the glowing seed in her hand grew warmer and brighter. Liora paused beside a beautiful cluster of pale blue poppies. With great care, she knelt on the soft earth and pressed the tiny seed into the damp soil. The moment it touched the ground, a gentle spark of light rose upward. Right before her eyes, a new flower unfurled its delicate petals, shining with the same peaceful golden glow as her lantern. The raven gave an approving croak and circled happily overhead. Liora laughed, a soft musical sound like a clear brook flowing over smooth stones. She continued her slow walk through the flowers, stopping every so often to plant another glowing seed that the raven had thoughtfully hidden along the path earlier that evening. Each seed she placed became a small lantern flower, adding its own gentle light to the meadow. Soon the whole field shimmered and twinkled, like a living constellation resting upon the grass. The rain had stopped completely now. Only the soft rustle of petals, the distant hoot of an owl, and the gentle trickle of a nearby stream could be heard. Liora and the raven continued side by side through the glowing meadow. Sometimes the raven hopped along the ground, right beside her feet. Sometimes it flew low overhead, its dark wings brushing the tops of the tallest blooms. They came at last to a small, peaceful clearing in the center of the meadow. Here the grass was especially thick and soft, and a gentle stream trickled over smooth pebbles nearby. Liora sat down on an old moss-covered log and placed her lantern carefully beside her. The raven settled on a low branch just above, watching her with calm, knowing eyes. From the deep pocket of her linen dress, Liora drew out a small cloth bundle. Inside were a few slices of fresh bread she had baked that morning, a small piece of cheese, and some dried berries gathered from the bushes near her cabin. She broke off a corner of the bread and offered it to the raven. The bird accepted it gently, then tucked it away in a safe spot on the branch. As they shared this simple meal in companionable silence, Liora spoke softly to her friend. "Thank you for guiding me here tonight. The meadow feels even more alive with your help. Every new lantern flower is a little promise of light for those who may wander this way." The raven tilted its head, as if listening carefully, then let out a series of low, contented clicks. For a long while they simply sat together, listening to the meadow breathe. The golden lantern flowers continued to glow softly around them, casting a warm, protective light that pushed back the deepening twilight. Fireflies began to dance above the blossoms, joining the gentle symphony of light. The air felt cool and clean after the rain, carrying the sweet perfume of wet petals and damp soil. Liora closed her eyes for a moment and let the peace of the meadow settle into her bones. She felt the steady rhythm of her own breath, matching the slow sway of the flowers. The raven stayed close, a quiet guardian in the night. After some time, Liora stood and stretched her arms toward the sky. The raven fluttered down to her shoulder for a moment, its feathers soft and cool against her cheek. Then it lifted off again and began to lead her back along the winding path toward the rustic log cabin. The return journey felt even more peaceful than the walk out. The flowers seemed to nod goodnight as Liora passed. Her lantern now reflected the light of all the new lantern flowers she had helped plant, making the whole meadow shimmer behind her like a sea of stars. When they reached the cabin, the windows were glowing with the warm light of the hearth fire inside. Liora paused on the stone threshold and turned to her companion. "Will you stay nearby tonight?" she asked gently. The raven croaked once in agreement and flew up to its favorite perch in the old oak beside the cabin. From there it could watch over the path and the glowing meadow beyond. Liora stepped inside her cozy log cabin and closed the heavy wooden door behind her with a soft click. The air inside was warm and fragrant, with the scent of drying herbs hanging from the rafters, fresh bread on the table, and the faint smokiness of the fire. She set her lantern on the wide wooden table and added another small log to the hearth. Sparks danced upward as the flames caught and settled. She changed into her softest nightgown, brushed out her long hair with slow, careful strokes, and climbed into the large, comfortable bed piled high with quilts and feather pillows. Through the small window, she could see the raven still perched in the oak, a dark silhouette against the distant glow of the meadow. As Liora lay there, she felt a deep sense of gratitude for the gentle adventure she had shared. The glowing seeds, the lantern flowers, the quiet companionship of the raven. All of it reminded her that even the smallest acts of kindness and care could bring light to the darkest corners of the world. She closed her eyes and let her breathing slow once more. In and slowly out. The sound of the crackling fire mixed with the distant rustle of the meadow. The scent of lavender and pine lingered in the air around her, and as sleep began to wrap around her like a warm, heavy blanket, Liora whispered one last gentle thought into the quiet night. May the light of the lantern always find those who need it most. Dear friend, I invite you now to rest in that same peaceful feeling. Let the image of Liora's rustic log cabin, the glowing meadow filled with lantern flowers, and the faithful raven stay with you as you drift towards sleep. There is safety here, there is gentleness here, there is deep, restoring rest waiting for you. Breathe slowly, let your body grow heavier with each breath. Let every muscle release any remaining tension from your day. Liora closes her eyes and whispers the same words she says every single night. Good night, my dearest. You are safe. You are held. Let go completely now and drift deeper and deeper into the deepest, most peaceful sleep.